Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Michael Jansen, founder and CEO of Cityzenith. And today you will be attending a webinar based called that we've been planning now for about a month about progress in the business, a bunch of exciting things that we're interested in at the company and opportunities for investors. You can put things in the chat for now. I see a bunch of people coming online. We're going to give everybody another, say, 30 or 45 seconds to join. There are, I think, over 600 people registered for this event, so it's a fantastic turnout, and we'll get started in a second. All right, very good. Hopefully you can see everything clearly and also able to use the chat function. I see people are logging in from all over the country and all over the world. That's wonderful. Again, welcome. This is Michael Jansen. I am the founder and CEO of Cityzenith. We are a digital twin technology company focused on decarbonizing buildings and infrastructure at scale. And it's going to be a pleasure to introduce our business today to those of you who don't know us so well as to talk about the investment opportunity that we have for investors who are tuning in as well. Lots to talk about at the moment. So digital twins, what are digital twins, for example, our specialty. There's a lot of discussion in the marketplace about what digital twins are. We focus on something called urban digital twins or building twins. And these are virtual representations of real buildings and the things inside them at scale. So not just one building, but potentially dozens, hundreds, and thousands. That's connected to all of the data inside and outside of those buildings at scale, whether those are transport networks, BMS systems, energy management systems, etc. And they're used to optimize all aspects of the design, construction, and the ongoing operations and maintenance of building assets really anywhere in the world. So I'm going to share with you a quick video if I can. This is a new technology we're working with here, so hopefully this will work. This is a kind of a snapshot of a project that we recently got started with in Las Vegas. It's a Las Vegas digital twin, and let me give you see if I can play this for you.
39% of global carbon emissions come from the buildings in our cities. Currently, less than 2% of America's 6 million office buildings are green. What if we could help buildings, infrastructure, and cities reach net zero faster, without risk, and at a fraction of the cost? At Cityzenith, that's what we do. Our Smart World platform leverages cutting-edge AI to automate the complex decarbonization process. Powerful 3D visualization tools help clients analyze and predict performance in real time, simplifying financial and operational decision-making. Thanks to our partnership with the City of Las Vegas, our Las Vegas digital twin features an unprecedented level of real-time sustainability data. Outside buildings, sensors monitor complex metrics, feeding data continuously into Smart World, including information about traffic density and air quality, helping planners, developers, and city officials make Las Vegas a more efficient, sustainable, and enjoyable city. Inside buildings, Smart World OS allows users to optimize their operational and energy systems, ensuring occupants enjoy a high-quality environment. Cityzenith's new Smart World OS Net Zero module continuously monitors clients' energy consumption, tenant behavior, and renewables performance, making it simple to purchase high-quality, verified carbon offsets to ensure properties maintain net zero compliance, providing the only true end-to-end net zero solution for building owners today. Cityzenith. We pledge to make the built environment a cleaner, safer, more efficient place for all. Join us.
Thank you. I'm going to go back to the presentation. Sorry. And pick up from here. This is a new webinar system for all of our attendees today. So if there's any issues, put them in the feedback loop. And we're doing this for the first time. We used to use a different company, and today is the first effort with this company. My microphone was not on mute, and I switched it to mute. So hopefully that took care of the echo problem, if there was one. In any case, there's somebody named Jack here from our team who is standing by, and he'll take care of any technical issues anybody might be having. So you got a chance to see the video, which introduces the product itself in what we're achieving here. Digital twins are a game-changing technology. They are not linear, one-dimensional, what we call single point solutions. They provide value across the entire organization and across the entire asset throughout its life cycle. These numbers come from an Ernst Young report that on the impact of digital twins in the building and infrastructure world, indicating that operating costs now are showing substantial reductions of 35% or more, boosts in productivity of 20%, and emissions, where we focus in addition to other areas, can be cut by half to completely using digital twin technology. So some more data on the market. Forbes recently published an article saying that 500 major world cities will rely on digital twins for daily operations by 2026, and 3/4 of the world's top real estate companies by the same time will be relying on digital twins. ABI Research recently put out an article as well, indicating, or a research report, I should say, that more than $250 billion will be saved by cities in planning, development, and operating costs by leveraging digital twin technology. That is driving a market which is expected to hit 48 billion by 2026 and now over 70 billion by 2027. That's a market we participate in. So we focus on buildings. There are lots of different focuses for digital twin technology, from microgrids to oil and gas, to medical purposes for digital twins of organs that are used in pre-surgery. We focus on buildings. The inconvenient truth is that buildings in cities are the world's largest polluters. 75 to 85% of total emissions in cities come from buildings. 39% of total emissions globally come from buildings. And 3/4 of the buildings in this country, in the United States, need to be retrofitted to achieve our SDG and Paris climate goals. The inconvenient truth remains that only 1.7% of America's 6 million office buildings are technically green. We have 100 billion square feet of office space in this country alone, and only 1.7% of that is green. 0.008%, or less than 1/10 are actually net zero. So we only have something like 1,500 or 2,000 true net zero buildings in the country. And the substance of getting to net zero as a city, and I think now 1,000 cities, including 30 in America, have made net zero proclamations and mandates, are interestingly driven by what happens in the building sector. So this is really the most important sector that needs to be addressed. We believe that there's an opportunity now for American cities to lead by example, especially with the new passage of the Inflation Reduction Act. I was just on CNBC yesterday, in fact, commenting along with 5 other top companies in our space about the impact of the Inflation Reduction Act on our business, which is going to be substantial. So we're super thrilled about it. Getting to net zero emissions for building owners, for those of you who don't know more about it, includes a few different steps over a period of time. It's a process. It's not a switch that you flip. It involves analyzing and installing smart building or energy management technology, of having on-site renewable deployments, whether as well as off-site, but those include solar or geothermal or wind or other forms of renewable energy, and then buying carbon rewards or carbon credits to offset any residual dependency on fossil fuels, and of course continuously monitoring and recertifying that over time. This is how you get to net zero. The reason it hasn't happened is that green building consultant fees have been expensive, and green building retrofits have been relatively expensive at $2 to $7 per square foot, which, if you consider that a building owner spends about $2.10 per foot per year on energy, this is a big number for an owner. And the payback period for typical green building retrofits is average 10 to 15 years, which is just far too long, when owners generally would like to see a payback in 3 years or less, certainly not more than 5, because typically the balance sheet requires an ARR, an IRR of at least 30% to substantiate investments at the top of the pyramid. And so we just don't get money for retrofits. And as such, only 1% of all green building, of all the work that we need to do actually gets done. We have to triple that. We have to get to a point where 3% of our operating budgets are being reinvested in green building improvements, in net zero improvements in order to get to these goals. And we're kind of far away from that right now. So the building industry, from a technology perspective, has lacked a technology platform that can manage and optimize the entire decarbonization process from end to end. That's what's missing. And right now, green building retrofit consulting is a cottage industry of consultants. It's expensive, it's labor intensive, people using their own tools. You're kind of like a flea market. Thousands of single purpose tools have flooded the market, confusing owners. They don't quite know what to do, and they hesitate, therefore, to make the kind of commitments that they need to make. There's just too much software out there, too much data, and no common platform for all of that. We just came back from a big conference in Dana Point, California. It was a real estate conference focused on ESG, and owners were saying one after the next, even the more progressive ones, that I've got this pile of data, I know it's worth a lot, and I don't know what to do with it. And so enter the world of digital twins, and we developed a software that was able to aggregate these types of disparate data sources and sets, from things as disparate as BIM models to social media to architectural drawings to real-time IoT sensor data from multiple sources at the same time into a common framework that allows us to use data to optimize what we're supposed to do and do it all virtually before we actually do anything at all and spend any money. So why we think Smart World OS is a great answer for solving the decarbonization problem that's in the built environment is that this type of platform is terrific at aggregating and simulating data at scale in the built environment. We can predict energy consumption and financial outcomes at scale, which drives down the capital risk for owners. And we can simulate what different ESG strategies look like. For example, this equipment with that financial strategy in this local legislative zone, this is the optimal solution that we recommend for you, and this is how we track the performance of that recommendation over time. What's great about this new Inflation Reduction Act bill is it's putting billions of dollars aside to finance green building retrofits. So now it's going to be a huge accelerator for our business because it's providing essential funding to accelerate these retrofits. So we effectively become the tool for certifying, decarbonizing, and monitoring, and then they provide the money for the missing pieces of financing through the act, which is just brilliant. So our Smart World OS was designed for the people who build, run, and operate cities. The property owners, facility managers, infrastructure operators, energy firms, architects, engineers, and planners, governments as well. We've done a lot of different types of large-scale work. We call it Cityzenith. Doesn't mean we do only cities. We kind of do just big stuff: airports, seaports, infrastructure, mixed-use commercial projects, master developments, university campuses, entire real estate portfolios, utility projects, smart districts, and even entire cities. We have a couple of interesting kind of USPs as a company. Our CTO comes in from Lockheed Martin, where he was a principal researcher in systems of systems technology for military and space aircraft. He then moved on to Starbucks, where he was head of IoT and digital twin. He basically masterminded the entire repositioning of Starbucks and the use of data to optimize Starbucks' thousands of stores, and then moved on to Acuity Brands, focused on more our neck of the woods, which is HVAC and energy optimization, where he had a digital twin there. Lockheed Martin came back to him and said, "We want you to head up digital twin for all of Lockheed Martin." And he actually joined us, which is terrific. So it was wonderful when he became CTO and has really helped us to develop, I think, the most significant and advanced version of a software on the market today. So the way that we work, we do large-scale projects, we do partnerships with big companies, which we'll get to in a second, and we're deploying now Smart World as a platform through a program that we've initiated called Clean Cities, Clean Future, which allows us to implement master city digital twins in cities around the world in partnership with the local green building authorities, that's then vended through as a solution to local building owners. And it's really a model we're very excited about. Los Angeles, Phoenix, New York, Las Vegas, and soon to be Chicago, among others, are all cities now that we're working with this way. So current projects, I mentioned Vegas, I mentioned Phoenix, very exciting. We do, as I said, also large scale things that come in through the door. This is the Lamana Tower in Riyadh. It's one of the most prestigious luxury residential towers in Riyadh. Very excited about this project. Some of our past projects include work on the Hyatt hotels with Cushman and Wakefield, a massive infrastructure project between Oxford and Cambridge that we did with W.S. Atkins and Langell Rourke called the East-West Rail project. And then an entire city, it was the first whole city we did from a design perspective with Sir Norman Foster of London. They had designed an entire new city in South India, and it was to be a city for 3 million. And they used a digital twin to optimize the design of various housing districts to minimize the impact of active heat gain. It's very interesting. So this platform approach that I mentioned is getting kind of exciting because the way that the company really is going to scale, we're kind of flipping the model on its head. Software, in the building industry and in the city industry, is sold like a product. And the way that we're now working with cities is that we're providing the solution to cities and then vending it through, like, effectively network effect to all the building owners in that city. So the cities actually get free use of this software. And we've modeled a solution in which cities actually get paid. So that the new model will allow cities to earn revenue from the use of Smart World and the use of the tool to certify green buildings in the local green building communities. We're very excited about that. This we call the Clean Cities, Clean Future campaign. We actually ran some television ads, probably worth sharing. I'm going to try to run a video again, hopefully without, I'll go on mute, hopefully without the echo. So give me a second here, folks. Let me see if I can pull this up.
In just a few decades, 68% of us will be living in cities. But did you know that cities account for 3/4 of all global CO2 emissions, and population growth and poor planning is making the problem worse? With our transformational AI software platform, we pledge to try and make the world's most polluted cities more sustainable, clean, and efficient, because we want to build a better future for our children, and we want you to join us.
Now, in theory, hopefully that worked. If somebody could let me know in the chat channel, I'd be thrilled. Let's see here. Okay, so some information about the offering and the model. We'll provide this information later on if you like. It's a compelling offering. For their investment of 2 cents, 5 cents, and 4 cents per foot for different elements of the solution, we can achieve improved rent premiums of 6% or more, sales premiums of 7.6% or more, NOI increases of 28%, and we also can lower operating costs significantly by 17% or more. These are all published statistics by the World Green Building Council. And when I was sort of when those factor out onto costs, owners have the ability to save maximally $3 to $5 per foot by spending somewhere on average to us 20 cents per foot over time. So it's a tremendously compelling savings for them. So this has all been modeled, and it shows us growing to substantial revenues in years 5 and 6, which I'm really super happy about. The program is getting a lot of attention. It was mentioned over 1,000 times in the international media in the last year plus. And as I mentioned, we were on CNBC yesterday, which was great to get in front of 30 or 40 million Americans. It was awesome. This Inflation and Climate Act, as I call it, the Inflation Reduction Act. This is a little screenshot from what showed up on CNBC about 24 hours ago. And I don't mind talking about this for a bit. I said this news could impact our share price in the near future and facilitate the close of a large institutional investment round later this year or early next year. It's been great news for us. It's really going to catapult this company, I think, especially in the United States, of course, but America tends to lead and drive a lot of trends in other countries around the world too. So we're super happy about it. As an American who spent 25 years living overseas and traveling to 100 countries, I couldn't be more pleased to see my own country taking this type of leadership. We have had institutional interests seriously for the first time in quite a while. Since the beginning, really. We've always had VCs and PEs ever coming to us. I probably had 1,000 VCs come to us over the years. Most of them are not organizations that provide any strategic value to what we do, and explaining what we do is often complicated. And now with this whole kind of opening up of the digital twin market and the climate agenda, we are now in the advanced stages of due diligence with one of the world's largest energy companies. We have received incoming inquiries to invest from Shell, from Schneider Electric, from AECOM, and as recently as Friday from Lockheed Martin itself. So we're obviously doing something exceptionally right. We are in the final stages of diligence on a large investment from one of those 4 companies, and I'm hoping to pull some of those other companies into the same investment round coming up. But I do see a major institutional round on the horizon, and that's terrific. So, we mentioned things we're doing with Shell. That's kind of getting off the ground. This is a new kind of partnership with their City Solutions group, and I mentioned them to you earlier. It's going to be a chance, really. We were almost, as a company, we were approached by another major energy player 3-4 years ago to be acquired by them. Actually, it's a bit early for all that to be happening. Kudos to them for being so proactive and so pioneering. But the thesis that they had was brilliant. Digital twins handle all this complexity that I mentioned to you. Energy companies around the world now are only speaking about energy transition. How do we transition our assets, the built environment, the mobility environment, from fossil fuel dependency to renewables? And so if you saw the company LNG from France and Belgium recently switched their entire agenda, $85 billion revenue company, switched their entire agenda from selling oil and gas to selling energy services. Where do digital twins come in? Digital twins come in as a way that you do that. You take the owner's data, whether it's Ohio State University or the city of Chicago or the US military, you work with the data to develop the transition proposal and show, using the digital twin and the AI simulation capabilities, exactly how that energy transition is going to play out year after year. So it becomes the master organizer for the energy transition agenda, which is the most beautiful thing in the world and a very profitable place to be. I talked about partnerships. Shell City Solutions, we're now working very closely with Capgemini. I think we made an announcement that I was appointed to the Capgemini Net Zero Board. I'm very proud of. I was also, by the way, appointed to the World Economic Forum's Digital Twin Global Advisory Committee. So it's a top 10 in the estimation of the World Economic Forum digital twin minds in the world. So I was super thrilled to be honored with that award. Amazon, we're developing Epic Games. We're using new software products from both companies with whom we have relationships. Very excited there. Our strategy remains to get to 10 cities over the next year or so, and then 30 to down to 100. And there is a kind of an interesting potential future for the company in which we become a kind of carbon offset exchange for the building world. And this is something that we're exploring with Shell, because every time we develop a green building project, we create carbon credits, an opportunity for them. And so in creating this massive market of decarbonization projects, we're also creating a massive demand for carbon credits. So this is something we're going to address in the future. We have reached the end of this presentation, and I wanted to thank everybody for just tuning in. And I'm going to tell a little bit more about the round now, if I could. The round itself, a couple of things. The price is now about $1.50. If you go to cityzenith.com in the upper right-hand corner, there's an invest button. And then you click on that invest button, and then you follow a few steps, and it tells you how to invest. You have to input some information, and then you can invest whatever you like. The average investment is $3,000 to $5,000 in the company. The minimum investment is $900, and people have invested over $100,000 in the regulation A+ as well several times. So it's a range of accredited and non-accredited investors. Everybody who's interested is welcome. This is an exciting time. I mentioned the share price. I do think that the share price will be, there's a strong chance the share price will be affected by all these things going on, all the new partnerships, the new product, and of course this new Inflation Reduction Act, and our current shareholders are aware of that. There's a chance that the current share price will jump from $1.50 to $3 in the next 30 days or so. So keep that in mind. Can't guarantee that, but it looks possible. And we're now starting to talk more publicly about this. Also, with all this institutional interest, I'm not quite sure, for how much longer the crowdfunding will continue, because obviously once the big guys come in with checks, one of the requirements that they have is that we will no longer have a requirement for additional capital, put it that way. So we would then close the round. So if you're coming into this company now, it's probably the best time that anybody ever has. And until such time as we cut an institutional check, it'll still be available. And then we'll let you know when it isn't. Unfortunately, we will not be able to give a lot of advance warning. When we close the round, we'll probably close the round. And we thank everybody who's participated. Over 6,500 investors from 40 countries. I couldn't be more thrilled with that type of support. With that, I'm going to switch off of this, try to get out of this mode if I can. I really don't know how to get out of this. Oh, there we go. Whoever did that, thank you. I want to get to questions in the chat. Okay, so if you've got questions now, not in the chat, sorry, there's a different tab called questions. Pop your questions in the little tab on the lower right-hand side of your screen, hopefully, which says questions. And I'll try to get to them now in the order in which they were coming in. So I'm going to go back to the beginning. From Alan 10, do you have a pro forma to share? Thank you, Alan, for that question. In a regulation A+, we cannot share projections. We can share things that we call our goals. And yes, we do have that to share. It's not made public, but it can be made available on request. Comment from David Shepard. You're just reading my mind. I was going to ask about partners, and I just answered that question. So great, David. Question from Ivan. What are the company earnings? The company is in development mode, and the company's earnings, we're still at not a profitable company. We're not going to get profitable until 2024. So we're very much like a lot of software companies, a lot of retail companies, I should say, need to make money in the first 2 or 3 years or die. With software companies, we're more about, in this case, getting market share, users, and expanding our user base as much as possible. That costs money, which is why we're raising institutional capital. So we're not trying to get profitable right now, but we will be, or we expect we will be within a couple of years. Question from Mr. McDonald. We reach out to and support carbon-free technology, which is air energy from pneumatic power. I don't know who that company is, but we're all in favor of all companies that participate in this space and do interesting and innovative things, and we're happy to work with them as much as we can. Okay, question from Parang Mehta. Does the distribution partnerships channel involve revenue sharing with distribution partners from subscription revenues, or only one-time revenue share at the time of sale? It is a revenue share on all sales. So 2/3 of our revenue is recurring revenue that comes from subscriptions, and 1/3 comes from professional services. So as those fees are collected, those revenues are distributed to us. Question from Graham Harper. Can I still invest in your Regulation A Plus via your website, and for how long will the price stay at $1.50 a share? The answer is yes, you can, Graham. Officially, as a CEO, I can't tell anybody about any specific change in the share price. I can give you all the information, and that I have done. I think the share price hasn't gone up in a bit, and we've alluded to the fact that we think that we've been discussing an increase to $3 per share is likely. My guess is most likely by the end of the summer, but I can't guarantee that. And if you are, I'm not sure if you're an existing shareholder, Graham, but if you're not, we're happy to answer more questions about that. Question from Phil Stevenson. I see that your Clean Cities, Clean Future initiative is gathering pace with Los Angeles, New York, and Las Vegas already on board. Who's next? Chicago's next. There's also a growing pipeline of cities after them. What we're looking for is either big cities with a big agenda, and we've got those, but also very progressive cities that are doing a really great project. And now we're beginning to interview cities like that all over the world too, because at this stage in the game, we're going to grow the most by doing really good, high quality work with very engaged cities. So you're right, that is going well. I think it's going to catch fire actually as we continue to roll these out. Question from Dan Simonton. Michael, what was the latest regarding stock purchased during the WeFunder Friends and Family round? Don't know really what that means. If you invested in WeFunder, you own shares in a WeFunder special purpose vehicle called WeFunder Cityzenith something something. And any questions about the WeFunder investment in Cityzenith has to be addressed to info@wefunder.com, and they will answer it for you. It's an unusual thing where you don't invest directly in us, but you invest in an SPV which invests in us. So technically, you need to speak with that. A question from Mr. Mehta. When do you expect the institutional funding previously referred to, and will that bring an end to the A+? Yes, it will bring an end to the A+. When do I expect the institutional funding? Anytime from at any point between now and I would say not now, anytime between Q4 and Q1 or 2 of next year. We expect to have a commitment from the lead investor. We could have a commitment from the lead investor as early as October. And then that will tell us basically when the round will close. And my goal is to get the lead investor in first, and the leader in this investor in this case is a giant. It's an energy giant. I mean, it's like the best investor you could conceivably have for a company like this, because their agenda is now to stick to energy transition. They need a solution like this, and they have the deepest of deep pockets. I don't know if you guys heard, but Shell did like 12 billion in profit last quarter. And this is ridiculous money. And if this is what they have to do, they're going to do it. We're a very small part of a very big, continuum here. And if they say no, we'll do it with BP or somebody else. But the kind of attention we're getting is really very heartwarming, and it's all coming at the same time. For a question from Joe Henry, is the new legislation going to speed the adoption of building asset owners and their cities will therefore mandate them to conform and will this save buildings, help building owners save money? Yes. So several cities in America already, and around the world, they've done this for years, have mandated that building owners now reduce or eliminate emissions. New York City, look at their Law 97. Boston, Washington, D.C., Ithaca, New York. Los Angeles is about to announce it. Washington State has announced it. So city after city after city. Chicago is going to do it too. Now it's going to be, if you're a building owner, you do not have a choice. So we come in as a certifying body and as a way to get there. And we're very excited about that. It's a tremendous opportunity for everyone, for the building owners to save a tremendous amount of money, and for the cities to actually make some money. Question from Michael Kleemeyer. I understand the metrics with exception of productivity. Can you define productivity in this reference? It's kind of you'd have to refer to the report. I think it'd be better to do that than for me to expound on it in a Cityzenith call. But if you write to info@cityzenith.com, what we'll do is have somebody give you a copy of the report, and I'm sure we'll expand on it there for you. From question from Mr. Mehta, I'd like to inquire your rationale for seeking crowdfunding project securing institutional funding, just for continuing operations or improving relative position of the management vis-a-vis the institutions once financing is secured. Well, crowdfunding, as you know, Mr. Mehta, my last company was funded by Sequoia Capital. So I had 25 VCs put term sheets out on my last business, and I know the VC world exceptionally well. VCs are great at a later stage of your business. And we did not see good investors for what we were trying to do institutionally. Most of the Shells and all of these folks, they were not ready 5 years ago when we started crowdfunding. The VCs from California to Waltham were not ready 5 years ago. So we had to get innovative about how we raised money. And I was exposed not to crowdfunding in the US first, I was exposed to crowdfunding in the UK first. It was the UK's EIS program, which is the enterprise investment scheme that the UK government provides to UK citizens, allows them to invest with incredible advantages. So between those 2 years, they kind of crowdfunded, and I was like, wow, this is great. And if you have a complex piece of technology and you need $7 or $8 million to get it anywhere, and you're looking for VCs, and VCs basically are revenue investors. Well, who gives you the $7 or $8 million? Now, you either have exceptionally wealthy family that can give you $7 or $8 million, or maybe there's a government grant you can go get, which is kind of murky and weird, or you have to put it together. And most buildings, raise between 250 and 500,000, max 2 million. We had to raise 12 million this way, actually now 13 million, to get SmartWorld to where we are. But we would never have been able to get to having the kind of team that we have on $1 million, buddy. Wrong deal. I found out about Cityzenith, question from James Taverner, via a news report about new green legislation in the US. I'm interested to find out more about this and if there are other legislations around the world that are helping green companies. Well, as I mentioned, this new act, Mr. Taverner, is a huge deal for us. And there are multiple legislations around the world focused on green buildings. You could refer to reports that were put out by the World Green Building Council about what every country and jurisdiction is doing, and they'll give you more information about that. Let me cruise through here. Let me see if there's any more questions. Okay, there are. Okay. There's a bunch more. Give me a second. I got to find out where I was. Okay. Okay. Joe Henry, I read about Cityzenith also via reading articles over time that encouraged me to invest several times. Intend to keep following and the company progress, invest again soon if the price remains at $1.50 for a little longer. Yep, Joe, you're fine, Joe. I think you've got the rest of the summer. Question from DW McDonald. Will you invest and support carbon-free air energy for carbon extinction of all buildings? I don't know what that is, but what you could do is send the information to info@cityzenith.com, Mr. McDonald, and somebody will have a look at it for you. Question from Joe Henry. How much are these strategic investors likely to invest? The likely the exit, and are they the likely exit? My guess is yes. 20 million over a couple of tranches, and I think that most likely one of them will be the eventual buyer of the company. I think so. Question from Alan Flett. What is the difference in function between Cityzenith and Matterport? Cityzenith is a data platform for the simulation of advanced building performance. Matterport takes 3D pictures. The Matterport CEO is a good buddy. Question from Richard Hall. I missed the first part of your presentation, but is this technology copyright or have some IP protection for Cityzenith? Or are there currently competitors to your service? There are competitors, of course. As a market leader, it always annoys me when people start chomping too close at my ankles, which happens all the time. And yes, a lot of the things that we say and do are copied. That's true. We've been very good, though, at doing a couple of things. One, we have a robust IP plan, and we're in the process of patenting 7 new pieces of intellectual property that basically are the glue and the engine of digital twin software. And we're very thrilled about that. We have very strong relationships with other companies that provide essential pieces of technology to us, which is, again, essential to our being successful. So, but you're going to see competitors. Right now, we're lucky that we're considered to be the top startup in this space. That's why we get the attention from Lockheed and folks that we do. But I'm also cognizant of the fact that you have to move fast now and not sit on our laurels. We're going to have to act fast. Question from Chris Short. What collaborations with customers are being paid, worked on, and generating revenue? All of these are revenue generating contracts. And every single one provides the opportunity for Cityzenith to earn revenue from every single building owner in that particular city. So, as I mentioned earlier, Mr. Short, we're not going to be profitable for 3 more years. And building a technology platform like this is a very complex undertaking that will take time. We're going to earn tremendous revenue, but we're not in a hurry to get profitable and squeeze some revenue out to impress investors. If you want a retail deal, there's lots of retail companies that sell cosmetics and alcohol and weed that you can refer to, but that's not what we do. This is a very sophisticated undertaking, and that's what we build value by building IP, by building customer base, and then by scaling revenue. So it's a combination of things at the same time. Somebody was asking about competition. Mr. Lang, what about competition? How many? Is there an issue or problem? There's more and more companies kind of doing different things. We're far ahead of all of them. And if anything, it involves slightly more explanation in some of our sales meetings. But right now we're still ahead of the group. And if we get this institutional financing, there won't be any competition. Let's just be honest. Is this similar to FieldSmart BIM data environmental for digital twin? No, that's not even a digital twin product, Jason. That's like a facilities management tool. It's kind of a BIM plus type of thing. And be careful with what companies are calling digital twin, because most of it really isn't. Question from Oscar about how to invest. I think the best thing you can do is again, go straight to the website, cityzenith.com. There's in the upper right-hand corner, there's a button that says invest. Just click on that button and it'll walk you through the entire sequence so you can understand what you need to do. If you have any questions, you can call us, and then the number given there, you can also write to us. We get back to you within 24 hours, and we have a team of about 4 or 5 people that help investors answer questions, help them through the process. If you're struggling with the software, which sometimes, investors just don't like using software, give us a call. We'll help you through it. Question from Mr. Warren Heaviside. As a current investor and potential partner, I'm interested in supporting the adoption of the technology in MENA, which is Middle East, North Africa, Saudi, UAE, Qatar, Bahrain, Kuwait. We are a digital twin consulting company. Are you partnering with digital twin consultants? Yes, we do actually. So feel free to reach out to us, and we'd be happy to talk to you more about that. We'd be happy to. And we love the Middle East, by the way. They've got some really interesting things happening out there. I think it was a couple of years, if you were familiar with the Middle East, we were just approached by Mubadala, which is the giant development agency of Abu Dhabi, as well as a digital twin consulting group, a French one, that works in the Middle East, and they brought a big project to us, which we also like very much. We like digital twin consulting companies because they know what they're doing most of the time. And a lot of the engineering and architecture firms out there that call themselves digital twin consulting companies, they're not there yet. So welcome the opportunity and feel free to get in touch with us. Oscar, I think I answered your question. This is Oscar Dominguez about how to make an additional investment. You're free to do that by just going through the website. If you have any questions, you can reach out to us. Question from David Shepard: can digital twins be applied in different applications besides businesses? Oh yes, David. You should look at the work, if you get time and you're interested, of Dr. Michael Greaves, who was a NASA scientist who kind of coined the term digital twin. He's a buddy of mine now. Back in 2002, we're on a lot of panels together. And he talks, there's literally thousands of use cases for digital twins. It's such a generic category. But broadly, you're seeing them in oil and gas, you're seeing them in medical, buildings and infrastructure, in cities, you're seeing them in different places. And the reason I think you're seeing them specialized is that those ecosystems of tools that you saw, just imagine how complex that ecosystem is for every other industry. I mean, getting one platform to do what we need to do is a combination of certain technologies and certain unique innovations that create a digital twin stack for that industry. It won't necessarily transfer, though, to every other industry, and other industries that are building digital twin tools are using other technologies and developing other original technology from us. Question about how much you have to invest to get that sweet Cityzenith t-shirt. John, I'll send you one. If anybody wants one, let me know. I actually got them for the team. We use them for trade shows. Are using consultants like BIM Engineering as US LLC? I don't know who these guys are, but we work a lot of consultants. And we work with some BIM folks too around the world that do modeling for us and other types of projects. That's true. When will our Betico account reflect our recent investor round? David, I don't know what a Betico is. You're gonna have to put that one back in the channel, buddy. I'm sorry. Oh, he did, VStock, okay. So if you're talking about the recent special offering to existing Cityzenith investors, which was made. That involves a convertible note that will then be converted into shares over the next few months. I think the note says it'll happen in a year, but we think it'll happen in the next few months, and then it'll end up in your VStock account, David. Question from Rick Bain. Are you looking at the design build market as it applies to cities and developers? Yes, Rick, very much. Design build's a great territory for us. And we are beginning to look at it, and we're very excited about it. Question from Joe Henry. How much has been invested in the last few weeks from, oops, let me just move around here. From from existing investors in the last month as thinking of following on with another investment? Oh, from Joe. So Joe, since we made the announcement, existing investors have put in $1 million and in the last few weeks. So we're super happy about that, and we're really thrilled. Question from Katie Lemieux. What's the current valuation? It's around 44 million, Katie. Question from Horace Gonzalez, an early investor from the UK prior to the EIS scheme. I have seen various iterations of CZ business model. What can we expect in terms of preserving the dilution of our investment? Well, I think you're right, Horace. The digital twin market took a long time to mature. I think if we made any mistakes, we were early, and the market took 4 or 5 years more to mature than we expected. And of course, as it matures, you have to adapt to the maturation and make sure you stay ahead of everybody else. So we're lucky to have investors like you who've been supportive of us. In terms of dilution, we are, I always tell investors, dilution, it talks about your percentage shareholding in the company. What I would like to remind people is how much you own of Cityzenith is immaterial. What matters is what you invested at and where is your share price now. So someone like Horace, for example, I can't remember, but might have come in around 88 cents. And so Horace, in a month from now, if it jumps to $3, it's going to make a 300-400% return. So that's kind of what's happened to early investors like Horace. And recently we took care of a lot of our existing investors again, who have seen some nice returns on paper so far. Question from Terry Ford. Can we buy items that will help advertise the company? I'm going to, I've been asked several times. I'm going to do something now about that. I'm going to just figure out how to get people Cityzenith stuff. I'd love to do it. We even had these little Cityzenith pencils at the last trade show that once you kind of like use the whole pencil, whittle it down to the end, you can plant that thing and it turn into a tree. And very funny. But let's see. Question from, thank you from David Shepard. You're welcome, David. I'd love a shirt, please. Also, XL. Thank you, David Correa. I'll have to make a note of that, Jack Hare. We already have a request. Questions? A further question from Mr. Gonzalez. Further to my original question as a UK investor, what further opportunities are available to overseas investors? Horace, you're welcome to invest like any other investor. You're an old and treasured investor of ours. Just get in touch with us. You're welcome to the special offering like all other investors, even though you're based overseas. So any way we can help you, we'd be happy to do that. Horace, just let us know how to do it. A question from Robert Martin. I'd like to take one of those Cityzenith sweet teas. Okay, we're gonna have to get some of these made. I'm listening and I'm hearing everybody. We'll get these made. Okay, let me see if we have more questions, folks. I'm looking in the chat. People are also putting things in the chat. Okay. Okay, if you have more questions, please pop those in the questions spot down there. Question from Mr. Peter Chung. Is it too late for my consortium to invest in Cityzenith? No, it's not, Peter. We would love to have your consortium. Peter runs the Digital Twin consortium, but not the Digital Consortium in the US. He runs a massive consortium of smart cities around the world. He's based in Asia. But he's been kind enough to introduce us, and when Peter invites people, it's like prime ministers and these huge events. Peter would be certainly be a welcome investor in the company, because I know the value you would also provide as an investor. Welcome to do that. Okay, keep the questions coming. All the ones about t-shirts, that's acknowledged. I'll give you another minute or so while I wrap up and let people know how to invest again. If you have any questions, pop them in the questions tab if you could, like I've been reading, and I'll do that. Otherwise, you'll continue to hear updates from us. We're going to go to a bi-weekly webinar schedule because things have grown a bit and people want to hear a little bit more, and there's a little more happening. And as we're getting close to institutional, there's going to be more to talk about and more to do. We've always been busy. It was going to get kind of nuts. So I think we're just in a good place right now. Those of you who've been here know that we've worked very hard for this for a long time. I'm grateful to my earliest investors who believed early, and I'm grateful to the people who believed as of yesterday. We're all in this together. I'm looking more and more like it's going to be an exciting 12 months ahead of us, and what we can't control over the years of this taking shape, I think we did an admirable job of staying in front of the market, of keeping our voice out there, even as a small company, and of making the right decisions. We were pushed to do projects that we avoided. We had investors come to us that were the wrong folks for us. And when you make the right decisions, even if it takes more time, you'll get a better outcome, I think. And this is my second time around, and I've learned to be patient and how to ask and be grateful for everyone else's patience. But I think we're going to start running now. And thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. I want everyone has put a note in the channel. Jack, please make a note. People are giving contact information, and I'm grateful to all of our existing investors. I'm grateful to the people who attended today and are just getting to know us for the first time. I really appreciate it. And if we can in any way help you to understand more about the company, we'd absolutely love to do that. I think it's a wonderful opportunity to really make this work. So, and you're all, again, someone just hit me with a text. I'm sorry, make sure I got everything. Great, good stuff. Okay, this is Mr. Rick Bain. Yeah, we'll talk, Mr. Bain, about your utility project for sure. We'll get the team on it and we'll have a conversation. Again, thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday, and we'll see you at the next webinar. Take care, everyone.